Testing, what is good, everyone? Good afternoon. Hopefully, we're live. Let me know if you can hear me. This is a first for the channel, not a first if you guys follow me on other platforms, but a first for the channel. Testing. Okay, I think we should be good. Let me know if all is well. It's a big day. It's a big day for qualifying, ladies and gentlemen. Let me make sure the camera's up right. I'm actually standing up at the desk today, which is rare. Very rare. What's good? Welcome to the stream. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Big day for Saudi quali. I might make this a bit of a thing. That's the plan. Hopefully on the race weekends that make sense. Oh, there's lots of you in here today. What's good? You never know what I say. I say intrigued. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments. That's what I say. What's good? Welcome everyone. Hit a like on the stream. I would appreciate it. Oh, we got lots of you in here already. Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Okay, lots to talk about. I think what I might do is on Grand Prix and quali sessions that are good timing-wise, I may hop on and have a little chat with the stream before everything. Because I think, look, you can watch the Sky Sports preamble, but I don't think it hits the same, in my opinion. I don't think it hits the same. So yeah, it's new, but we'll keep it up if you guys like it. So I appreciate it. Have you ever gone live before? I do a lot of live shows on the other channels. But for F1, this is a first. So yeah, all right, guys. Hello from Florida around the world. Glad to see you. Yeah, we're going to do predictions. We're going to talk all sorts because there's lots happening today, as always. And I definitely want to get into what you think about what's going to happen in quali because you guys know that I was optimistic that this weekend might be a little different to normal in terms of maybe someone else than McLaren would win, but it's not looking great as of today. And, you know, we'll see. We've got this great image here on the left-hand side, which pretty much sums up Ferrari at the moment. It's all aura and nothing on the track. What's good? Watching from Barbados. Hello, Jamal. Well, it's a good question, the fake Hex toys. Thanks to the two. Has Lewis Hamilton lost it? It's a big question. Samuel with the two as well. Oh my God, appreciate all you guys. I love the content. Thank you very much. Well, we're going to get into that. I mean, let's just crack on. I've got like a small version of the screen as well. So we'll just go through a couple of things. I mean, I've got a few things to bring up. Look, I guess we'll talk about the Hamilton stuff because I know you guys want to talk about it. Obviously, this weekend's been a big challenge so far. I don't think this is a massive surprise on some level. Like he's not qualified well here since 2021 around this track in this new Grand Effect era. And when you're struggling for confidence in the car, this is probably the last track that you want to be on, to be honest. So it may not be a massive surprise, but yeah, it's tough, right? Because China, like his second Grand Prix, like the Grand Prix wasn't great, but the sprint he won in incredibly impressive fashion and put it on pole and looked more comfortable in the car than Leclerc. So maybe at this point in the season for Hamilton, I think it really comes to tracks that he's happy with. I think, you know, when he goes to Spain, I don't think he's going to have issues there. I think Silverstone, he should be fine. But it may be a season where weekends where he actually likes the track. I don't know. It's interesting, though, because it seems like there was a change of the car that Ferrari brought in this new upgrade. And it seems to have definitely given Leclerc something in terms of what he wants to do with the car. But we've seen that in the past, right? I mean, I think it was a couple of years ago, 2023, when they brought that upgrade to Japan. And it was like it helped dial out some of the understeer in the car. And Leclerc likes that kind of oversteery nature Hamilton was talking about, that Leclerc likes that a lot in the car. And Hamilton doesn't prefer it. He'd like it to be a little more, he's a little bit more Carlos Sainz-y, and they brought that upgrade to Japan a couple of years ago that really revolutionized the SF23 and made Leclerc just unreal in it. Oh my God, we got 600 people in there already. Appreciate all of you. Quali's starting in 50 minutes. For Quali, I will just go and watch it on my own, and then I'll be back and making the video afterwards. So we're just going to do, I'm not going to do a watch party yet. We'll see. If you guys really want me to, then maybe I'll do it at some point, but not today. Need to sticky the super chats. Yeah, I need to figure out a way to do that. There is a way, but I will get through them because I can bring them up on my end. So yeah, I don't think Hamilton's lost it, but I think that he's very much going through this mental process right now. Like, he's kind of like Lando, right? Like, he's talking down on himself. I mean, I've got someone else for you guys as well. There's a couple of other comments. I mean, like, this one I thought was pretty tragic, really. He says, normally Saturday goes backwards, but there's not a lot more backwards for me to go. I mean, if you didn't know if it was Hamilton saying this, you'd have thought it might have been Lando, right? Like, this is just... It's what we're talking about with the car and the confidence and everything. Is Hamilton the driver that he was back in 2018, 2021? Like, you know, no, I don't think he is. Is he still good enough in the right circumstances? I think that he is, but I think it's going to be a tricky season. At the end of the day, the car isn't good enough, right? So maybe it doesn't really matter. But I think, unfortunately for Hamilton, the hope for the 8th title must be so difficult to manage, because there is, next year, that Ferrari engine, you know, it's not looking good compared to the Mercedes. It's not looking good, according to the rumours anyway. We'll talk about Max in a second as well. But, I mean, look, once you get to your 40s, it's difficult to imagine that you can stay as competitive as you'd like to be. Sam C as well, so did F1 ever come into breaking point? If you guys follow the esports stuff that I do, that's the plan, Sam. That is the plan. But we have a couple of things to do on the Call of Duty side first before we make that go. Michael Massey says, welcome to the chat. We don't need you back, but, you know, welcome here. Ferrari is where world champions go to die. Man, Ferrari are just like such a painful team, aren't they? Every time they show some promise, they find a way to take it all away. And we've certainly seen that this year. Because this year, I genuinely thought Ferrari had a chance. They were taking some risk, but there was always one team that the risk was going to backfire on. And it seems like that is the Scuderia. So, I mean, even Hamilton was saying this, that he's just trying to get it into top 10. And to be honest, in that practice session, he was only a couple of tenths off Leclerc, which, I mean, it's not great, but around this circuit, it's not the end of the world. The issue is that Leclerc is 9 tenths off P1. So if Leclerc's 9 tenths off pole and Hamilton's 1.2 seconds off pole, like, you know, that's the difference between maybe, I mean, we saw it in the practice session, right? Like, let me look at the numbers here. Yeah, here you go. You guys can just about see this. So we had Lando, P1, Oscar P2, separated by 200ths. George was 6 tenths back. And then it was Max. Leclerc was 9 tenths off. And Leclerc was on the radio saying that the car couldn't get any better than that. That was like as good as we could do. So, yeah, appreciate all you guys joining in for the live, actually. This is already like 700 people in here. So I appreciate all of you. Yeah, my main channel, Salit, is not my main channel. F1's like my main thing now because it's the thing I'm most excited about. But yeah, the live streams are good fun. This is the first live I've done for F1, but first of many. Maybe I'll do it on Twitch as well at some point. You never know. You never know. But these were the FP3 results. I mean, because watched the videos the last couple of days, you'll have heard me say that, oh, George Russell, maybe Mercedes, this could be their weekends. And, I mean, they've not looked bad, but it's just the McLarens are on a completely different planet. I mean, it's actually kind of absurd. I know that even Max today was talking about, he was just talking about Rob Marshall, right, who has left Red Bull to join McLaren, and that's probably the best signing that Zach Brown's ever going to make. I mean, we don't talk about engineers much, apart from Adrian Newey, but like there can't be much denying that Rob Marshall's made a serious impact at the team. This live stream will go off for qualifying. I will go watch it on my own, and while I watch it, I'll prepare the content for the video that I make afterwards. But if you guys really like it, at some point we might do quali watch-alongs as well. When it's at a good time, because I was going to do this the first couple of weekends, but I'm not getting up at 4 to do a pre-show for the Japanese Grand Prix or something. So... But yeah, it's a rough time for a number of different teams. I think McLaren, I mean, I also wanted to show you guys this. Here we have the numbers for the different sectors. I think you can just about tell where I'm going with this. It's pretty small on the screen, but there you go. Look, we talked about this before the weekends, that Sector 1 was always going to be good for McLaren, right? That should be no real surprise. They're 3 tenths up on anybody else in Sector 1. I know it's practice, and the other thing to say is that in these conditions, when it's hot, the McLaren... I honestly think a lot of the reason why their sector 3 is quicker is just because their tyres hold on. Like the other teams, their tyres can't even hold on for a whole quali lap. And I have my gripe with Pirelli about that. Not like I know anything about tyres, but like clearly there's an issue when the tyres overheat during a race and lose grip, and then they also overheat during a quali lap and can't even complete a full lap. Like it's the fact that tyre management is a thing within a quali lap is a joke in my opinion. Viking Gaming says hello from New Zealand. Love the channel. Always look forward to F1 news every day. Thank you for what you do. Awesome, bro. Appreciate you very much. Nico says can't wait for the Doohan pole position. We'll see about that. We will see about that. What's good, Ox? Honestly, Trey, I might have to get him on for some F1 stuff. We might be there. So, but over the entire lap, Russell's 7/10 down on an ideal lap. Norris has looked nice this weekend, and I think that's a pleasant. I wouldn't say it's a surprise. I mean, it's only been practice, but like it's good to see because I'm still firmly convinced that Lando has unreal pace, and I don't know. The last couple of seasons, I've been pretty confident that Lando's pace may always be better than Piastri's pace. But it's now Piastri's third season. He's clearly taken a step. He likes this car more than Lando does. From like a race execution, management, mental perspective, he clearly has an upper hand. But over a single lap, over the course of if I had to predict qualifying over 24 rounds in the season, Lando versus Oscar, I'd still like to say it would be like 14-10 Lando, something like that. And if that's true, then, I mean, like in Suzuka, for example, right? Piastri maybe had more pace, but Lando was ahead, and McLaren aren't going to say anything because they're too scared, frankly, to make a hot take, in my opinion. So then Norris can stay ahead, and at least it feels like this year we're going to have a title fight between drivers, because the last couple of years, okay, when Max was dominating everything, it's like, you already know, it's going to be, if the Red Bull's the best, it's going to be Max. This year, one of the McLarens is winning the championship. McLaren are winning the constructors, but I still don't know who to back. I mean, right now, Piastri is the favourite, but I think that Norris is, Norris will figure it out, I think. But he might need to get like Bob Rotella in his corner, if you guys know who Bob Rotella is. Bob Rotella's a famous golf sports psychologist who's working with Roy McIlroy. Or maybe needs to get, I don't know, Peter Ebdon or some of these snooker guys in the building, or whoever that sports psychologist is that used to work with Ronnie O'Sullivan from snooker. But yeah, we got 1,000 viewers. Appreciate all of you. Loads of likes as well. Like, views to like ratio is class. So appreciate all of you on that one. Got to back Lando IMO, says LBK. Yeah, you can go other ways. Question here: why do we call McLaren papaya cars? Technically, their color orange is papaya. So, the ads, bro. I don't really have control of ads. Apologies. I could turn them off completely though. So maybe I'll do that at some point. Max P1. Is there a chance? I mean, the thing is, Max could do it. It's Max, but also, is he just too far off? Like, I will say, the driver who's, I wouldn't say impressed me precisely, but I'm kind of a Yuki Tsunoda believer. I know you guys kind of know this, but I do have a bit of faith in Yuki, and I know that he crashed it yesterday, but he's been close enough. The issue is, right, that 3/10 off Max 2 years ago was P2. 3/10 off Max today is P9. So, that's kind of where it is. And I think Alpine, they clearly have a good chassis, but their engine clearly is going to be an issue around this circuit. I know that yesterday was fine, but today might not be. Slash says, is this year going to be Rosberg Hamilton for McLaren? I guess that's another question for you guys. Like, could Piastri Norris ever get that intense? Or are they different personalities? They're definitely different personalities than Rosberg Hamilton. I don't know if it would ever get that intense. But look, at the end of the day, they can say all sunshine and rainbows for now, but if it's going down to the wire in a title fight, like, things will get tense over there. And you know what Mark Webber thinks about it. I know there was people today saying, like, if Vettel wants to be a true hater, he needs to go and manage Lando Norris, right? And we get this kind of Vettel versus Webber V2 vicariously through the McLaren drivers. That would be pretty spicy. But I think today's actually a really important day, because this has not been a big, assuming that McLaren get pole, one of the two, which is seems pretty likely, because this has not been a great track for Lando the last few years. His results here have not been good. I think his best finish is P7 here, back in 2021 maybe, and he was like P8 last year. Oscar was P6 or P4 or something. So I had a quick look it up, and it's not like it's been a pretty track for Lando, really. So if he delivers today, then it's obviously a good sign. And yeah, Ad says, I mean, Rosberg, Hamilton are much more dominant car. Other teams are close. Updates are coming. Yeah, I don't think other teams are miles away, but it's just the concern is that McLaren can simultaneously be incredible over a lap, and they can manage their tyres better than anybody else. And tomorrow around this track, time management is going to be pretty key. We'll do some predictions, I think, in a second. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention is this Verstappen thing. I mean, obviously we'll talk about this in the video later today. I'll at least touch on it. But there was lots going on. Let me make sure this is on the screen. So Andrew Benson today from the BBC, he did a little podcast appearance where he said, actually maybe I can just play what he said. So here we go. Let me undo that, and then let me play this for 2 seconds. You can't hear it. Hang on 1 second.
Almost for 2027, and that's an idea that was mentioned to without me even asking by someone
wants to be on the top step of that podium.
One of the most intriguing stories around Verstappen at the moment is that he could maybe take a sabbatical next year, just see how the rules go, and then pick a team almost for 2027. And that's an idea that was mentioned to me without me even asking by someone quite close to Max Verstappen. So I wouldn't rule that out as an idea either. I don't know whether they're just
Okay, so that's what Andrew, I think you could hear that. I couldn't hear it because I've not got my headphones on. But Andrew Benson basically said that someone close to him had said that Max taking a sabbatical is not an impossibility. It's an interesting option, right? Because, so, yeah, I know people are going to say Max isn't going to go anywhere, but like, my feeling is that there's no smoke without some fire. Like, there's clearly something going on. And let's not pretend like Jos Verstappen hasn't been talking openly about Max leaving for a while. Let's not pretend that Helmut Marko hasn't said it for a while. I mean, Raymond Vermeulen was seen in the paddock today talking to Ollie Oakes at Alpine. I'm not saying he's going to Alpine, but, you know, I think there's something going on. Yeah, I mean, as Adam says, right, he's got a child on the way, and there's definitely other things that he'd want to do outside of Formula One. I'm not saying he would leave or leave forever or anything like that, but I think it's worth thinking about, because Alain Prost did this, right? So Prost, he took a sabbatical. He took a year off in 1992, and then Prost came back in 1993 to join Williams, because Williams won 92, and then Prost won with Williams in 93. So, you know, it's a strategy. It could work, and in this era of regulations, it might make sense, because if you're Max, who's going to be the fastest team next year? I don't know. But maybe you're convinced that Red Bull won't be, which maybe is fair. Maybe it's justified that you don't think Red Bull will be the fastest team. I mean, right now they're struggling. Even Max's comments today about Rob Marshall, he was talking about, you know, where was it? Here was the tweet here. Max was saying that, look, Rob Marshall came over from Red Bull's making a difference. I think there's an underlying feeling there that Max doesn't think that Red Bull can get out of this hole. He doesn't think that what McLaren achieved in 2024 is achievable for Red Bull again. And if that's true, then maybe Max thinks maybe a year out, spend some time with his firstborn, come back in 27 when you know who's got a good team. I don't know. It's interesting. It's, again, there's like a million theories about Max right now that are floating around. So I don't really think he will. I'd also don't want him to. Like he's entertaining. I'd like to keep him in the sport. But it might make some sense. But equally, if Max takes a year out and comes back in, does the situation change? Like, what if Mercedes are stupidly dominant? They're not going to bring in a new driver because there'd be no need to. There's obviously some degree of risk bringing in Max anyway, just because, he has an entourage and there's other things involved. So, yeah. I talked about Lewis a little bit earlier on, Arjun. We'll get into that again a little bit in a second here, because obviously it's been a tricky time on the weekends. Toto was also commenting on this and said that I always say, don't flirt when you're happy in a relationship, in a professional sense. And then says, if not, I get a really hard time from Susie. So, the read between the lines here is that he's happy with the way that things are. And that's probably not going to change. But I don't know, the more I think about it, Max taking a year out doesn't seem totally implausible. But there's a load of theories about that at the moment, that's for sure. There's also this on Yuki. So Yuki is getting some additional prep in. They're doing some extra testing for him before Miami, which is next weekend. Isn't it next weekend, Miami? So he's literally going to be in the next couple of days. Pretty sure that he's going to do some more testing. So I like to see Red Bull back in their driver. It's nice. I mean, nice for them to actually back Yuki. And I think, even from his first sessions that he did in Japan, I think it was clear that he had a better grasp on things than Lawson did. And I think Lawson is under a lot of pressure right now. And you know why Lawson's under a lot of pressure? It's especially because of this result today. And just as I was going live, actually, this was confirmed. This is Arvid Lindblad won the F2 sprint race, and it's only his first few rounds in that. I think he's racing for Campos, right? But it's a Red Bull-backed team, and he's the youngest ever F2 race winner now. So, and Lindblad, I know a guy who actually works with Lindblad quite closely, and he's getting a Formula One drive at some point. Like he's gonna be in that Racing Bulls next year. Like as far as I'm concerned, like if F2 goes well, and this clearly is evidence that it will, then like he will be in that Racing Bulls next year, as long as he gets his super license and everything. So that means that the Racing Bulls team, it's a dogfight, right? Like it's Hadjar versus Lawson, pretty much, and Hadjar's definitely been the most impressive so far of the two. Thank you for the $5 Canadian, Mark. Thank you very much indeed. And thanks to everyone tuning in. We've got like 1,400 people in here right now for the first ever live show, which don't think that's bad going. What's good, Kai? And you get your shout out. You asked twice. Lawson is for sure out next year. Yeah, I don't know. Lawson, I respect the fact that he came in guns blazing. He was like, I'm beefing with Alonso at Austin, and I don't care. I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win. I respect that mentality. I feel like if I was a driver, I'd probably have a similar mentality. But if it doesn't work, you crash and burn. It is what it is. Like, you live by the sword, you die by the sword if you're Lawson. And, he's got to step it up. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like the Racing Bulls is quite as competitive. So I'm from Essex in the UK. I don't sound like it, but I'm from Britain, yeah. All the best F1 content creators are from the UK. On God. Lewis has stopped shouting at his Ferrari engineers. It just causes more confusion. I think Lewis he's got a lot to think about right now, hasn't he? And I'm sure he's in his head quite a bit as well, based on the results I've seen so far this weekend. And it's tricky to imagine, thanks Jay for the 2, by the way, to see it. Does Hamilton make it into Q3? That's a question I have for you guys as well today. Like, does Hamilton make it to Q3? Because I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. Like, I could easily see a Q2 elimination here. We've seen it. What was it? 2022 went out in Q1, didn't he? In the W13, which obviously wasn't a good car around here. So I do feel for Lewis a bit in this scenario. At the end of the day, it is tough for Lewis, but also this Ferrari is not capable of winning the championship. So on some level, like, how much does it really matter? Obviously, championship position is important, but like, if Ferrari might end up, I mean, they're probably going to be third, aren't they? But if they're further down in the constructors, it gives you testing time for 2026. It's probably part of what Aston Martin are thinking right now. Does he make it into Q1, mate? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming he's going to turn up for Q1. I mean, the thing is, with Hamilton driving like this, there's a question, right? Because if you look at go through the British drivers on the grid, you've got Lando, you've got George, you've got Albon, kind of, if he doesn't race for the British flag, but he's half British. You've got Behrman, and then you've got Lewis, right? And of those drivers, Hamilton's the one having the harder time right now. Rob, what was your reaction when Rob Moore said he watches your videos in morning coffee? I already knew that. I've actually spoken to Rob quite a bit. Rob's a great guy. But that was nice. Actually, when he said that, I had a chat with him earlier in the day. How long do you think Leclerc is going to tolerate Ferrari, says Slash? That is a question and a half. I know I've heard people say this before. What would be sadder if Leclerc never left, like if Leclerc leaves Ferrari and then they come good, or if Leclerc never leaves Ferrari but they never win? Like, what's sadder? Leclerc might be cursed, Ferrari might be cursed, I don't know. I think, as David says, Hamilton in the race, I still have no doubts about Hamilton's performance over a race stint. I think he can still manage the car and everything very well. When it's right on the limit, I think he's struggling to find that edge, and maybe that will stay true for some time. It might take him half a season. It might never come back to him fully. Maybe this car just isn't going to suit what he wants, and next year's going to be totally different too, with the way that the cars are going to behave. It's such a marginal game at this point, and especially if the car isn't very good, you can't afford to be that far off the pace. Let's go, Skydro. Welcome to Mick. I actually forgot I had the memberships. You've got Mick. I think I've got Mick, Ralph, and Michael. I might need to update that a little bit. But it's definitely a tough one for Ferrari. This was Leclerc on the radio saying that 9/10 off was basically the limit of the car. So, yeah, tricky. Kenny says, what's my full-time job? This channel and the other couple of channels I have doing esports is actually what I do full-time. So, appreciate all the support. Any news on 2026 Honda? Man, I'm not sure. The feeling is that Mercedes have the best engine, for sure. But there's some discussion about fuel. There's actually a lot of discussion about fuel. And that one of the manufacturers hasn't really nailed that. Which I don't think is Honda. So I think Aramco will probably be really good on that front. So I'm expecting them to still be pretty competitive. But yeah, next year, Hamilton is going to be fighting for P8 because everyone ahead of that is going to be Mercedes powered, is the current fear anyway. And all I'll say is the championship, I'm not saying this year's championship is going to be incredibly competitive, but the gaps between the teams this year, I mean, okay, Q1 was 2 seconds, but we've seen gaps this year of a second during quali. You'll get 1.2 seconds covering the whole grid. Enjoy that while it lasts. Enjoy that while it lasts, because next year is going to be a different story, probably. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anytime Honda's been a part of F1, they've been really good, apart from the Michael Ferrari era. Well, I think McLaren Honda might disagree from when Alonso was there. So hopefully Alonso gets that back again. I mean, let's not forget Honda didn't... Was it not when Alonso went in to go race in Indy, Honda he wasn't able to use a Honda engine because he'd called them a GP2 engine in F1, so they refused to work with him. So there was that whole thing, which is pretty funny. So, yeah, I guess predictions, guys, for qualifying here. Here you go, optimal quali laps. I've got another thing to bring up real quick. And I guess also predictions for tomorrow is probably a fair discussion too. Is McLaren still using Mercedes engine? Yeah, McLaren are going to be Mercedes next year. I think the big question that I have about McLaren next year is because right now they have a decent setup, McLaren, where they have the Mercedes engine, but they have access to everything on a real fine-tuned detail. So they're not just buying the Mercedes engine and chucking it in the car. Like, they're able to integrate on a very deep level, and that's massive for them. I don't know how true that's going to be in 2026, to be honest. So it may prove more complicated next year. And this is the thing: if you're Norris or you're Piastri, like, this could be your chance. You never know. Like, this might be it. You may never get another opportunity to win a world championship. I mean, it's always like that. But in 26, who knows, right? Maybe Mercedes come along and they're so fast and McLaren can't compete, and Mercedes win every title for the next 3 years, and then McLaren fall off, Red Bull are back, maybe Ferrari finally win, and then Lando, Piastri, who knows, right? So this is your year. You've got the best car. It's probably going to stay the best car. Other teams may catch up. But let's be real, it's probably going to stay the best car. And I know there'll be changes. We'll talk about them in due course. So, yeah, you know what? Can I do a poll? Here we go. Start a poll. Quali prediction. And we're going to go add option. We are going to go Lando. We're going to go Oscar. We're going to go Max. And we're going to go George. I think that's probably justified. Probably justified. Would you support all even cars like Indy Racing and F1 or keep it like it is? I think this is what makes F1 so fascinating as a fan, is the fact that it is a Formula, like a Constructors' Championship. It adds so much more depth to the sport that the different teams can come up with different things. They have different upgrades. They have different ideas. I think it's for the better. But I also like Indy. I'm not... the thing is that Indy is too many bloody street tracks for my liking. But I was at the Indy 500 last year, which was absolutely mega. So if you guys ever get a chance to go, it would be welcome. Yeah, maybe I should have put Gasly in the poll predictions too. I just don't think it's possible around this track, but I think they're a team to watch for next year, and I'm sure that Briatore's got some tricks up his sleeve. You know what it's like. I saw the poll like 20 seconds before he's going to do a poll. Yeah, I'll make it work. I mean, this is the first live stream on the F1 channel here, so I'll do my best. I wish we could have another 2021 year. Thing is, those come along once in a decade. Come back in 2031 or 2030. Maybe you'll get another year like that. But that was pretty insane. I did go back, and every so often I go back and watch the 2021 qualifying session, because it's just like, if you have to show anyone what makes F1 so good, that is a great example, because Hamilton gets P1 and then Max just absolutely sends the whole lap and then crashes at the final corner. The commentary is spectacular as well. I don't know what you guys think about commentary. I have kind of hot takes on this, but I flip-flop a bit. Because on one hand, Crofty annoys me sometimes, just the way that he speaks, and I don't know. I wouldn't say he's my favourite ever commentator, but Crofty's better than people give him credit for, in my opinion. Like, it's difficult to do what he does, and some of Crofty's best moments are some of the very best moments that we've ever had in commentary of the sport. So, yeah, and that's one example, but it's not really what we usually talk about. Nat Neil says, are you going to do more of this? Nat Nael. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully, if all goes to plan. I'll be back tomorrow. F1 TV has better commentary. Yeah, I mean, I love Alex Jacks is great as well. He's great as well. But I think, to me, Crofty and Brundle, when they're like on point, is tough to beat. Quick question, what do you say at the start of your Valorant videos? I say... all right, guys, welcome back to Valorant News. Welcome back to Valorant News. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments below. TacticalRab here, back again today. Something like that, anyway. Crofty is good, but sometimes he's just too wholesome. I really like Brundle. Yeah, mine Brundle's the best. It is what it is. Okay, I'm going to close this poll, and let's see what happens. Thanks, Michael Massey, for the 100 Thai bar. And wait, let's have a look at this poll. Okay, you guys have got Oscar taking pole over Lando. I mean, yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. Probably the predictions for tomorrow will end up looking kind of similar, but I don't know how far we can think some of the drivers can get. Laurence Brito is the best. Crofty says stupid, irrelevant things. I don't disagree with that, to be fair. I don't disagree with that. And thanks, Michael Massey, for the... I did already say thanks for the 100. Wouldn't be the same without you, that's for sure. That is for sure. I think my prediction is Lando. I think I've got Lando. But we'll see. I mean, he looks more comfortable in the car this weekend so far. He seems pretty happy with things. Again, his attitude is pretty different to Oscar. Like, even yesterday, Lando was still saying, well, I wish the gap was more. And Lando's personality really, really fascinates me. I can't quite put a finger on it. And the part of me that has kind of grown up with F1 champions being very aggressive and hard-nosed and cold mentality-wise just struggles to believe that Lando can do it the way that he is. But maybe he's just quick enough to get away with it. I just think that Piastri may be good enough to beat him, for sure. But if Lando was in, like... I mean, imagine Lando in a 2021-esque title fight. Imagine how he would get just absolutely destroyed by Max, respectfully. Like, they would just... it's like Silverstone 2021, right, where they crashed and Lewis felt like, I feel, that he had to send a bit of a message that weekend that he was not just going to yield. I just don't think Lando's got that kind of dog. So that's my opinion. Oscar will take pole. How's Oscar's time management this season? It seems stronger, but maybe it's just the McLaren, right, being absolutely godlike. It's not impossible. I guess dark horse as well. Like, is there a dark horse? I still want to, part of me still wants to say George, because I think the Mercedes, they should be strong here. And I do feel like in the slightly cooler conditions, the advantage that McLaren have should be more limited. I don't think they're absolutely miles away. Maybe Max can do it. Can Max get in the title fight? I guess that's another question. Is he... he's obviously not too far back, but is it possible? Gasly pole. Leclerc is driving. Actually, yeah, you know what? I want to give Leclerc some gas because I've got another tweet on that. Here you go. So only one driver has qualified in the top 4 in every Saudi Grand Prix. The last 3 years on the spin, Leclerc has been P2 around here, which is pretty impressive. So now, does he have the card today to do it again? Not so sure, but Leclerc does like it here. It's a track that suits him pretty nicely, I think. Thing is, could Leclerc get P4 or better? I think possibly you could. And then, Hamilton's going to be like P11 or P9. Something like that. But it looks very competitive out there today. Where do we actually think the Alpines will quali? I think Gasly will make Q3. I think that Doohan won't. I think it honestly might be worse. My fear for Alpine is that they would just turn up the engines a bit. Because, let's say Alpine are down 30 horsepower. But in the first part of qualifying, the other teams will turn their engines down. They might be running similar horsepower. So that's why yesterday when Gasly looked good, it's like, okay, well, let's see when the engines are maxed out what it really looks like. David says Lewis P11 and finishes P5. I wouldn't be surprised. Like he'll, P4, P5 for the Ferraris again. It's just, it's not good enough. They brought this upgrade. They've tried to confirm it this weekend, and it's pretty clear that Ferrari are just not going to be competitive this year, which is very unfortunate. But then the question begs, okay, well, what about next year? Maybe they need to go full focus on 2026. But maybe they think that there's no chance because the engine isn't going to be good enough. It's another big rumor over the last few days as well. There are like 5 drivers who can win. Yeah, Norris is going to put it into the wall. I did see this talked about elsewhere as well. What do you guys think about that from Mega Golfer 4? Norris is going to put it into the wall. Watch and see. I mean, he definitely could. He could. I mean, he did it last year, right? It was last year, wasn't it? The thing that Yuki Tsunoda did, that Lando did the same thing last time. Absolutely not impossible. Tez says, can George do a Kimi 2007? I think with upgrades, not impossible. Not impossible to take advantage of a battle between the two McLarens and somehow come home to win. And I wouldn't bet on it, but the thing is, Mercedes, I honestly think that if Mercedes like fully committed resources to this year, they probably could do it. But I don't know if they will. I think they will. Oh, it was 2020. Yeah, it wasn't last year. Okay. Yeah, a couple of years ago now. Thanks for the correction. But yeah, maybe that corner. There's some other corners. This track is still insane. I mean, if you guys remember the crash that Mick Schumacher had around here in 2022, that was a bad one. Thanks, Heinrich, for the super chat as well. Appreciate you. I Am Stupid 2.0 featuring Lando Norris. There's not... the I Am Stupid corner, though, was funny. There's not many corners here that could be I Am Stupid, apart from the last corner. Because every other corner, like, you're not saying I am stupid after you crash at 200 miles an hour. That's you're saying I'm okay or I'm not okay. Yeah, Merck wants to run everything next year. I think that's the thing, right? Like, they could commit a lot of resources, Mercedes, to this year and try and make it work with George. But equally, they could be very confident that they could next year just completely take over again. Also, what do you guys think about this? This is why I love Antonelli, man. I find this so funny that he drives the esports lines and he's already damaged the floor of his car this season doing it. But, I mean, look at this, right? So this is Antonelli. And I don't know what line Russell will take. We'll see it today. But this is the lead up to that right-hander, isn't it, at the start of the second sector? But look at the amount of curve that Kimi takes here compared to what George takes. It's actually insane. Kimi just pushes his car, and he does the same at Bahrain. He does the same everywhere. Like, he did the same at Bahrain at the end of Sector 1. No one was taking as much curve as he was. And the thing is with Kimi, the track limits violations he was getting in Bahrain were not on the exit. They were on the entry. Like, he was taking so much entry curve that he was actually leaving the track on the entry to the corner. So, yeah, exactly. I think I actually love this kid. I think he's so entertaining. But I like to see a kid from this generation who he's literally driving the esports lines. Because on an esports game, you will take this line because the curbs don't exist. Like, it's not real life, so the floor doesn't care. But in real life, the floor isn't so happy with you doing this all the time. But it's like some corners you can probably get away with it. I think that's the point. Has Yuki justified the driver swap, in my opinion? I think, yeah. So far, yeah, for sure. It's not like he's been great, but he's definitely been better. And I think he'll prove to be better than Checo too. It's just Checo kind of got lucky because... Not lucky, but... Like, when he was in the team, the car was so much better than everybody else. Rabbi or pearly white's real. Yeah, they're real. I mean, they're not as white as they look. The lighting in here is good. But I do appreciate the gas. But yeah, he takes an awful lot of curb. He had a big bump in practice 3 I saw as well. He'll be feeling the curb. Yeah, I don't know. Perez versus Yuki first year, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, of course, like when Perez first came in, he was fine. And then it kind of got a little bit worse. I'm not from Lawton, I'm from Colchester. I'm from the same hometown as where Adrian Newey is from. I'm just saying. Like, no big deal. No big deal. Kimi will be better than George being a rookie. I mean, like, if this year's going to be Norris versus Piastri title fight, I would love to have a world where next year, if it is going to be Mercedes dominant, Antonelli can be competitive enough to be in the fight. That'd be mega. Bang! Crusading for Odin with 100 knock. Wow, appreciate you. Haas has a chance of a podium as long as there's rain with Ocon on the team. Just hard truth of Rab gets hard from hot steamy breaking news. Sensational. Don't want to be in Haas pen anymore. I think unfortunately this weekend's Haas, it's looking like a more of a challenge for them again. To be honest, let's have a look where they were at the end of that practice session. Behrman P16, Ocon P18. Yeah, Lance Stroll P20, my goat. It's been tough for Haas. I think these higher speed tracks, they just tend to cause a bit more difficulty for the Haas than some of the other ones. It's the same issues they had in Melbourne to some degree. Do you use a script? No, I just bring up tabs and then I just yap about the tabs. It's basically the strategy there. Who's qualifying highest of the midfielders? Okay, good question. I think right now you have to look at the Williams, right? Williams could look like a surprise package of this weekend. I mean, let's be honest, a hot take for quali, it might not even be a hot take, is Sainz out-qualifies Hamilton, right? I mean, maybe it's not a hot take, but it seems like a reasonable take at the moment, which obviously would be a story, right? Hamilton getting out-qualified by Sainz's Williams, but yeah, I think that Albon could be the surprise package here. I think that the money would be on Gasly, with the exception of the fact that the engine is there's just no way. There's no way the car's that good that the engine's going to hold on. And they've not taken a new engine. Both Ferraris have a new engine. Both Red Bulls have a new engine this weekend. So I think the Alpine, they're going to be good in Sector 1, but after that, I think it's going to be a challenge. And they've got to compensate with lower downforce and everything. So I think this weekend, if there's a top of the midfield, you've got to be looking at Williams. The RB's looking like they've dropped off a little bit. So I think Albon could qualify somewhere around about here, potentially. I still think for now, Albon's going to have a little edge on Sainz. That's just my perspective. The Williams is slippery here, yeah. I mean, the Williams' straight line speed actually wasn't mega over the last few rounds. But at least in Bahrain, they didn't have crazy straight line speed compared to what they did a couple of years ago. But they just have a more all-round car now, which is, I think it's better for their fans anyway. Is this my first live stream? Yeah, first live stream on this channel for sure. For sure. What happened to your fragrance? That project is, let's just say, on hold for the time being. But I appreciate all the support while we did have that ongoing. It wasn't like, it was a thing I did with a friend for a while. So for now, that's a little bit on hold. But we have bigger fish to fry at the moment, to be honest. Mihai, if I'd love to get in touch with you something F1 related, yeah, there's an email. The email should be in the channel somewhere on the About Me. Or you can just DM me on Twitter, or Instagram or something. Most things are in the comments. So I think Albon, yeah. So if the midfielders, Albon is probably the man to watch, or the Williams in general. I think George could George put it, I don't know. When the gap is 6/10, it's so hard to predict anything else than this, right? That's the challenge. But I don't think the gap's going to be 6/10 in quali today. All right, my prediction for quali, top 5. I've got... What have I got? Do I go hot take here? I've got Lando pole. I already said that. I'm taking Lando pole. I'm just thinking where... Let's be honest. My top 5 in quali are the top 5 here from practice. Just probably in a slightly different order. You know what? I'm going to back my beef on George being the man to watch. So I'm going to go Lando pole. I'm going to go Russell P2, a 10th and a half back. I'm going to go Piastri P3, 2/10ths back. I'm going to go Max P4, 3.5 back. Leclerc P5, 6/10ths back. Antonelli P6. Actually, no, the thing is, if Russell's P2... Antonelli's going to be like P5 maybe. So that's a little bit of a curveball to throw in there. Clackety rackety, hot take Hamilton makes Q3. It's unfortunate that's actually a hot take, but he has struggled so far this weekend. I can see it. I don't think it's a... Making Q2 would probably be a hot take. But yeah, I think that's my gut feel. I'm gonna stick with the opinion that Russell's gonna be somewhere there. Is Max good under the lights as he is in wet conditions? I think Max is just pretty good, really. I don't like. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? Like some drivers being good under the lights? Don't know. Is that a thing, chat? I don't know. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Maybe there is something to that. Obvious Stroll poll, my goat. Who will not make it to Q2? Okay, good question. Stroll. I'm not gonna lie. Before this session, if I hadn't watched pre-practice 3, I would have said Stroll, Bortoletto, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Behrman wouldn't have made it. And that turned out to be the bottom 5. Just because the Sauber isn't good, the Haas is not good around here. Maybe Behrman can do a miracle. I honestly, you know what? I'm taking Behrman to make Q2. Ocon, Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, Stroll out. And someone's going to crash. Now maybe I'll go for that. Maybe I'll pick a crasher. Maybe I'll pick... do I want to hate on Liam Lawson like that? All right, I'm going to go full hate watch on Lawson and say that Lawson's going to like hit the wall in Q1 and go out in Q1. That's my little take for the day. Poll for the window licker, says Michael Massey. Stroll is the new Go-Tifi. I mean, the thing is, right, this grid is just too good. There's no one that really crashes it like they used to back in the day. That's a big call. That's the point. That's the point, Step J. I mean, there's no hard feelings, but you've got to make some hot takes sometimes. Kimi will crash. That's another interesting one. Will Kimi... Because I will say with Kimi, like, his last few weekends have been very clean. And, I know that last weekend he probably should have scored points and the team probably screwed him over. But my gut feel on Kimi is that there probably is a mistake coming. There probably is a big mistake coming for Antonelli. As much as I'd love that not to be the case. Thanks, Benjamin, for the 6. Didn't know you were doing lives. I'd love if you made more of these. Yeah, well, if everything goes to plan, I'll do another one before the race tomorrow. And on weekends where the races are at a good time, I'll do these more often. But I do find live streaming quite tiring. I mean, I've been standing up here for an hour yapping with you guys. And it's like, doing this into a whole watch party for the stream, I think it would take me out. And then making a video after that, I think it would take me out. So I'm pretty chill doing a little pre-show. Sitting back and relaxing, watching quali, and then come back in a little bit when everything's underway. But yeah, quali just about to start, so I'm about to leave you guys in a second, but it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm not keeping the stream going today. As I said, maybe in future we could do it again. Gasly P3 would be a take as well. But yeah, let me just have one final check of the social media to make sure that I've not missed anything mega, because sometimes things change just before everything is about to get underway. But yeah, thanks for joining me. Appreciate all of you. We had we had 600 likes on the stream. That's actually pretty insane. And we had loads of super chats as well. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow if we do this again, which I think we will. We'll talk about all the other topics such as tyre degradation, what it's looking like, race simulations, what it's looking like for the strategy for the Grand Prix, who's going to win, reviewing qualifying, all that type of good stuff. But yeah, we're going to leave it there for the day. So appreciate you. Hopefully you thought this was good. If you did, thank you. Like or dislike, I don't really mind. And enjoy the qualifying session. And I'll be back shortly after qualifying with a video recapping it all. I'll be back tomorrow for more of this stuff. So thanks very much. I thought it was going to be good because I know you guys are great, but it was better than I thought. So take care.